Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at a double buffed Pokemon from the Season 24 balance update for Go Battle League, and that is Shadow Kanto Ninetales. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Emmy Emmerhauser, so many thanks for the battle submission. Ember received a massive adjustment this season, and it's now a clone of the move Poison Sting. Add to that the fact that Weather Ball now does more damage, and Kanto Ninetales can spam out boosted Weather Balls every 8 turns, which is the fastest possible pacing currently in the game. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's go Kanto Ninetales. Off to a great start in game number 1, leading Ninetales into Corviknight. Opponent safe switches into a Quagsire, and in a split second, Ninetales can bank a Weather Ball and then send in Goodra. That pacing is just absolutely criminal on the Ninetales. Goodra's going to farm up quite a bit of energy and go for the Aqua Tail. Opponent will put up a shield. They do want to try and make a play for alignment if possible. Goodra will go for Aqua Tail number 2. Quagsire knows it can survive at least one, and now Quagsire will look to connect with a move. No shield from the Goodra. It's going to be an Aqua Tail bait. Quagsire does get the farm down, but in comes Shadow Kingdra. Kingdra is running its new move of Swift, and it will get a full farm down. Opponent brings in the Corviknight, the banking of the Outrage, and the combo play with the Weather Ball Fire. This will remove most of Corviknight's health bar. They put up the shield. In the back is Shadow Dust Noir, and again, just look at the pacing on this Ninetales. Ninetales is just absolutely absurd. Ninetales already almost at 2 more Weather Balls. Weather Ball number 1 is going to be dealing big damage to Dust Noir, getting to Weather Ball number 2 as well. And this is just going to be the end of Dust Noir. Dust Noir gets KO'd. Back in comes the Corviknight. And there's already another Weather Ball locked and loaded. This Weather Ball is going to get them deep into the red health. And there is the combo play with the Outrage. Not even hitting all the bubbles. Undercharging the Outrage to get the farm down. And taking the game 1 win in style. Hopping into game number 2, and it's a much worse lead leading into Feraligatr. Save switch into Goodra. If Feraligatr wants to get to the Ice Beam, they're going to get outpaced. And they stay in, and now we'll have to respect a Thunder Punch. Gator did farm up to the Ice Beam. Goodra putting up the shield. Will we see a bait from the opponent? We do not. The opponent full sends and then brings out Annihilate. Annihilate not going to take a ton of damage from the Goodra moves here. As Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch don't hit particularly hard. Opponent knows this, so they will be no shielding. Goodra going to be no shielding as well. Rage Fist will land. Goodra would love to make one final Aqua Tail, but unfortunately will not get there. In comes the Ninetales. Ninetales probably going to look for a 1 shield farm down, as the Feraligatr's energy dry. So if Ninetales gets the farm down, Feraligatr can't do much, and Ninetales does get that farm down. In comes Feraligatr. Feraligatr gonna take a lot of damage from Shadow Psyshock. Psyshock lands, and now Ninetales can just go straight for the Weather Ball. I assume the opponent will probably just fully sacrifice the Feraligatr, and that's exactly what they do. In the back is Talonflame. In comes Kingdra. Kingdra will go for the Swift. Does the opponent know that this is not enough for Noctizuka? They do not. They put up the shield. I believe a Fly will not be enough to knock out here. They do need a Brave Bird. They go for the Fly. Fly simply will not cut it, and that's going to let Kingdra get to another Swift. This is a Shadow Swift. It should be enough to knock out Talonflame and secure the Game 2 win. We move to game number 3. What a lead. Kanto Ninetales into Alolan Sandslash. Opponent safe switches into Latios. And oh my goodness, there is no answer to Latios on this team. Ninetales will chip with a Weather Ball and then send in Goodra. But a Mist Ball from the Latios, or I actually think it's Luster Purge, is the one that Latios has. Yeah, it is Luster Purge. Would have knocked out the Goodra, so Goodra is forced to go down a shield. Now in comes the Sandslash. I like the decision to go for Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch does do more raw damage overall. It's never going to do a ton to the Sandslash, but it's about just trying to get whatever damage that you can. Thunder Punch number 2 is going to land. There's the switch. In the back is Shadow Gyarados, and this could be trouble. Shadow Gyarados is so spammy. Ninetales is slightly faster, but not by much. Gyarados' crunch lands. Kingdra hangs on. 1 HP on that Kingdra. It survives, but the next Dragon Breath will pick up the knockout. With Gyarados' energy advantage, it will be able to outpace. Ninetales forced to burn the final shield, and this is going to be a very tricky game. Ninetales farms up, going for the Weather Ball. Opponent gets the catch onto the Sandslash. What a play. They are putting all their chips onto this Gyarados. Goodra's pretty close to a move though. Goodra did farm up some energy before switching out. So when they pick up the knockout with the Aqua Tail, it's going to be a race to the move. Can Goodra get to, honestly, even an Aqua Tail? Goodra does get to the Aqua Tail. Could have got the Thunder Punch as well though. Let's see, will Aqua Tail be enough? Aqua Tail is not, and the Gyarados takes it on 1 HP. A heartbreaking end to the game. Oh, you absolutely hate to see it. We move to the next match, and it's going to be Kanto Ninetales looking for a bit of redemption after that last game, leading into Clodsire. Immediate save switch into Goodra. Ninetales could have stayed in and played that out, but instead, we see a diabolical catch from the opponent, catching the Aqua Tail aimed at the Clodsire onto Lapras. Lapras will still not appreciate the Thunder Punch spam. Thunder Punch obviously will not threaten a KO, but it removes a lot of Lapras's health bar. Goodra always going to shield here, going to try and make a play for alignment. It is going to be the Sparkling Aria thrown by the Lapras. Either they do not have Ice Beam, or it's a well-timed bait. Do they really want to shield an Aqua Tail? No, they're just going to let the Lapras go. They do have a lot of energy on that Clodsire, so they could bring back in the Clodsire, but no, they're going to bring in Dragon Breath Charizard. Charizard up energy can easily sweep, so we will need to see a pivot out into the Ninetales. Ninetales will always be no shielding here, as even a Shadow Blast Burn will not KO. It does a ton of damage. In comes the Clodsire, and this Shadow Psyshock will hurt. Psyshock is going to be no shielded. That does a lot of damage. Clodsire unable to get the farm down. Is that a charge attack priority tie there? I didn't see the sneak. They just let it go. They're leaving it all up to the Charizard. It's going to be a Charizard versus Kingdra endgame. Charizard has a ton of energy. We see the switch to Kingdra, and there's just too much fast move pressure at this point. The opponent is lost. They go for a Blast Burn. They undercharge the Blast Burn, but realistically, they were just getting farmed down anyway, because between the Goodra fast move pressure and the Kingdra fast move pressure, there was just no way out for Charizard. Great lead in the next match. Kanto Ninetales into Corviknight. Corviknight will get outpaced. Corviknight has 9-turn pacing, but Ninetales has 8-turn pacing. Oh my goodness. The power creep in this meta is absolutely wild. I remember like 12-turn pacing used to be the norm. Opponent full sends a payback. Big damage onto the Ninetales, but Ninetales hangs on, makes another Weather Ball, and forces the final shield. So Corviknight is able to get rid of the Ninetales, but paid a heavy price as both shields had to be used. In comes the Goodra. Goodra going to be no shielding as the opponent goes for the Air Cutter. Goodra cannot knock out with a Thunder Punch from this range, so I like the decision to not throw the move. Instead, Goodra will shield and Dragon Breath it into a range where hopefully Thunder Punch can actually KO. So Goodra will launch this Thunder Punch. It lands, picking up the knockout. Down goes Corviknight. Out comes a Heatmor. What is a Heatmor doing here? We've seen such normal teams, and then there's a Heatmor on my screen. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess it is early days in the season, but there's a Heatmor jump scare. Heatmor just gets KO'd. In the back is Lapras. That's more of what I was expecting to see. I saw the mono fire type, and I was like, surely it's a Ninetales. It was not a Ninetales. It ended up being a Heatmor. Lapras will go for a Sparkling Aria, and that's just not going to cut it. And Lapras will get absolutely obliterated by a 0 bubble outrage. It's still enough to pick up the knockout and secure that win. Hopping into the next match, Kanto Ninetales in this game will be staring down another Corviknight. People love the Calm Day Corviknight. This trainer is going to be pivoting out into Primeape. Primeape has this 8-turn pacing, but due to the 1-turn switch, they get outpaced. They take big damage from that Weather Ball. And honestly, it's a rare moment when Primeape can't switch into something down a turn and still get that turn back. The close combat does get shielded. In the back is going to be Clodsire, and this Ninetales, oh my. Honestly, after this video, I really have to get my Ninetales TM'd. This Pokemon looks unbelievable. Another Psyshock is locked and loaded that forces a shield. Now we see a catch onto the Shadow Kingdra, just saving the Ninetales because the Ninetales is too valuable, catching the Stone Edge. Out comes Corviknight. Corviknight will go for the Air Cutter, but honestly, Corviknight picking up the knockout here would be preferred because then Ninetales gets back on the field for free because the switch timer wasn't up. So they could have overfarmed a ton with the Corviknight, but instead now they're just getting absolutely torn to smithereens with this fire type damage from the Ninetales. Oh, can Ninetales shield once and farm all the way down? That would be amazing for the Ninetales. Ninetales commits, gets the farm down, and there's never been a game more over than this one. Weather Ball Fire Bait is going to get the shield, and there is the Psyshock. Oh, devastation. That's a shock and awe campaign from the Ninetales, absolutely shredding an entire team, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, Ninetales, every lead is Corviknight. Okay, well, if every lead is going to be Corviknight, then Ninetales, a great lead. Oh my goodness. And these aren't even like cherry-picked battles. Like I was sent a long list of battles and just picked the first 10, I believe. So it's just Ninetales absolutely crushing Corviknight hopes and dreams again and again and again. Weather Ball is going to be shielded, but if they really want to play the ones is not a shielding scenario that the Corviknight can win. Ninetales farms down, leaves with energy. In comes Azumarill, save switch Goodra. Opponent is going to send out a Shadow Dragonite, and this game should be over. Dragonite has to shield, because if they don't shield the Thunder Punch, I think they're getting farmed before they get a move, and they are getting farmed down. And there is just no way out now for the opponent. Goodra will always shield, because if Goodra can guarantee land some Thunder Punches, then that's going to make this game substantially easier. Goodra seems to really appreciate this new pacing on Dragon Breath, as obviously it was well known for Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch never doing a ton of damage, so if your charge attacks are never going to do a ton of damage, you may as well get to a lot of charge attacks, so that way you're able to just spam them out and do a ton of damage over time. So down goes Goodra, but in comes Kingdra now. Kingdra will get to go for the Swift, and I believe there's a Psyshock loaded on the Ninetales, so if they shield this, their fate is sealed. They do end up shielding it. There's going to be the CMP sack swap onto the Ninetales. Oh my goodness, diabolical. Thankfully the Psyshock KOs, and that's going to be a good game. Bad lead in the next match, Ninetales into Goodra, safe switch into the Goodra mirror. Opponent going to send out Dedenne. Dedenne is super far behind in terms of energy in this matchup because they stayed in a while with the Goodra. That means Goodra is going to get a second Aqua Tail before they can even threaten a play rough, and suddenly Dedenne is approaching red HP. Does Goodra decide to play for alignment? Yes, Goodra will put up the shield. Dedenne baited with the parabolic charge. That is unfortunate for the Goodra, but this cannot be a play rough. It's short. It's only enough for the parabolic charge. The opponent gonna go for a combo play with the Goodra. Thunder Punch will it KO. Oh, they Aqua Tailed and it didn't knock out. Had they gone potentially for the Thunder Punch, which does do slightly more damage, maybe it wouldn't have survived. We will now see a double shield. Kingdra down 2 shields to 0, shielding up that neutral Thunder Punch, and back in comes Dedenne. Dedenne will get knocked out by the Swift. Opponent still has 2 shields. They're still not using them. It's going to be, oh no, it's a Marowak in the back, and Marowak will just win this game. The Kanto Ninetales, it can do many things, but it cannot defeat a Marowak. In comes Kanto Ninetales. And yeah, this Bone Club is going to hit for so much damage. Ninetales can get a Weather Ball still, so it does have the bulk to at least make a move. But a Weather Ball does not threaten a shield. In comes Goodra. Goodra has a lot of energy, but no shields to hide behind. Bone Club KOs Goodra, and unfortunately that game will end in defeat. Ninetales into Impoleon. This is actually a positive lead for the Ninetales as long as shields are up. This Impoleon, oh, it looks like they're actually running Steel Wing instead of Metal Sound. So the opponent may have accidentally brought the wrong Impoleon to battle. Obviously, Metal Sound, the way better move to go for, as it is a Shadow Claw clone, I believe. But even if it is Metal Sound, just the sheer pacing on Ember means that the Kanto Ninetales is able to make Empoleon's life absolutely miserable. We're now going to see a safe switch into the Goodra trying to catch a Hydro Cannon. Empoleon, did they have enough time to react? They did, and they will go for the Drill Peck before conceding the farm down. So the opponent is not switch locked as they send out Steelix. This is a Dragon Tail Steelix, so they're able to hit for super effective damage onto the Goodra. Aqua Tail lands. That does do some pretty nice damage. Goodra has more where that came from. A second Aqua Tail. Steelix puts up a shield. Steelix looks like was worried that they would not get the farm down before another Aqua Tail was reached, so they will throw a move. That's going to be the breaking swipe. In comes Ninetales. Ninetales could have CMP tied there and knocked out, but it looks like Ninetales wants as much energy as possible. Breaking swipe has the guaranteed debuff. In the back is Talonflame. and Talonflame is not going to appreciate meeting Shadow Kingdra. Kingdra, this Swift will do some pretty sizable damage to the Talonflame, and Kingdra can always no-shield. Opponent is going to need a Brave Bird to knock out. They go for the Fly. Fly simply will not be enough damage. Back in comes the Steelix. Steelix gets the farm down, but now Ninetales. Oh, we're getting a Psyshock BM to end the game. The Psyshock does not KO, but there's a second Psyshock BM. Say it ain't so. 2 Psyshocks KO the Steelix, and that is a good game. After seeing the season updates, Shadow Kanto Ninetales was a Pokemon that I was extremely excited for. Obviously, there's been so many buffed Pokemon that unfortunately I wasn't able to try it right away, but my goodness, the Ember pacing is unbelievable. Consistent 8-turn damage means that even in neutral matchups, you just get overwhelmed by how fast this Pokemon is. On top of that, it feels almost like you can customize the Pokemon for whatever coverage you need. There's Psyshock, Scorching Sands, Solar Beam, Overheat. So whether you want a cheap coverage move, you can opt for Psyshock. If you want Scorching Sands, if you're worried about something like a Bastiodon and want to be able to two-shot it, there's also Solar Beam for waters. And if you just want to become the god of neutral matchups, then you can run Overheat. I think when I eventually try out this Pokemon myself, I'll probably opt for Overheat, just because being able to spam out Overheats, and Overheat and Weather Ball have very good moveset synergy, if I remember correctly, where you can farm up to 10 Embers and then have an Overheat plus a Weather Ball, so it makes for some really unfun guessing games for opponents. But man, I was extremely impressed with the Kanto Ninetales. I think it's a very strong anti-meta Pokemon. And if your opponent does not have a resistance to fire, like if they're not bringing like a dragon type or something like that, then Kanto Ninetales can apply insane amounts of pressure. The other Pokemon that really impressed me was Goodra. Goodra is a Pokemon that after its Calm Day saw a ton of usage, but a little bit faded out as time and power creep wore on. But Goodra is a Pokemon that really likes this new pacing. I mentioned it during the actual Shoutcast, but unfortunately, Goodra with Thunder Punch and Aqua Tail, those moves have never really done a lot of damage neutrally, so being able to get to more of those moves faster is a really big benefit. So I think Goodra is also a very playable anti-meta Pokemon, and I really like the fact that it's a bulkier dragon, as a lot of the dragons are more on the glassier side of things, where you kind of end up having to prioritize them when it comes to shield usage. But for Goodra, it feels like Goodra, you can play out the zeros in a lot of scenarios very nicely, so you can pair it with something like a Shadow Kanto Ninetales that more often than not is going to want those shields. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.